welcome to the online video of the music ministry class. This is going to be a video covering the class that we did on August 28th, 2011. And the reason we're posting this online is so that if anyone was there and didn't feel like it maybe really made sense to them the first time, some of this music theory training, or for those of you who missed the class, or for anyone who just might be interested in learning about music, we wanted to post this online on YouTube for anyone to really check it out. And again, our music ministry class is the sole purpose of trying to unite our musicians in the church to help us speak the language of music better so that we can glorify God all the more with our ability. And hopefully, for those of you who missed the class, or for those of you who were there and just need a refresher, hopefully this video will help as well. So on the 28th of August, we did cover a small portion of music theory, and at every class we do, we will have a music theory portion, which is about 10 to 15 minutes long. And this last week we covered lines and spaces and basic rhythms. So this is just the some foundational aspects of music theory, and I'm just going to go through the slides that we did at class. So the first question is, what is music theory? And music theory is the study of how music works, and that's basically it right there. I'll keep reading. It examines the language and notation of music. It seeks to identify patterns and structures in composers' techniques across or within genres, styles, or historical periods. In a grand sense, music theory distills and analyzes the fundamental parameters or elements of music. And we'll get to the elements of music in a second. But basically, all music theory is it's a way to piece together what we hear, the vibrations of sound, and whether that's in writing or just in communicating. Music theory is basically the grammar of the language of music. It's all the nitty-gritty stuff that goes into and helps explain what music actually is. So the elements of music, the first one is pitch. So the sound has a high or a low sound. You can hear different pitches based on what frequency they are, and the pitches go from low to high. There's certain sub parts of pitch, like scales and modes. Scale is basically just from one pitch to another pitch, going from low to high or from high to low. So for instance, the C major scale would be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So it basically is just going from up the scale, up the notes, from one note to the next. A mode, there's modes, there's Dorian, Ionian, Mixolydian, Phrygian. There's all these different modes. They're just different ways of playing through a scale or playing through a set of notes to help create a melody or help create a part to complement the music. There's consonances and dissonances in pitch. So for instance, a consonance would be nice sounding. So you could say if a major chord would be a consonant sound that sounds nice to our ears, or a dissonant sound is maybe something that creates tension in our ears. We don't quite like it. Rhythm is basically just a way of keeping time, how we create a feel or a groove. And basically rhythm is just the timing of when notes are hit. Melody and harmony. A melody is the primary line of music that is the main focus, where harmony is a supporting line or supporting note that will complement the melody line. And texture and timbre, that's just ways of changing the sound so that it sounds maybe a little darker or a little brighter or a little duller or sharper, and it can just create a different feel for the piece. Dynamics are just how loud it is and how quiet it is and all the range in between. So the grand staff, we covered this at class. The top lines there are the treble clef, and then on the bottom there is the bass clef. The two combined like that make up the grand staff. That's usually what you'll see in piano music. The treble clef lines, these notes will always be these notes in the treble clef. So you've got E, G, B, D, and F. A good mnemonic to remember these notes is every good boy does fine, or every good boy deserves fudge. Other people have used things like Elvis's guitar broke down Friday and things like that. I've always used every good boy does fine, but use whatever is most comfortable for you to help remember the lines. The spaces is F, A, C, E. And this is pretty easy. It just says face. So that one's pretty easy to remember. The bass clef lines, basically it's the treble clef notes moved down one line each, and that's G, B, D, F, A. So where the treble clef started with E at the bottom and then went E, G, B, D, F, the bass clef starts with G on the bottom and goes G, B, D, F, A. A good way to remember this is good boys do fine always, or good boys deserve fudge always. Then the bass clef spaces are A, C, E, and G. And the most common mnemonic I've ever heard for this is all cows eat grass. So let's move on to note rhythm values. The very top rhythm there, the very top note there is called a whole note. And a good way to remember that is it just looks like a note with a big hole in the middle of it. And a whole note is worth 4 beats. So you'd count 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that gets divided into 2 half notes. And each half note is just a note with a hole in it and a line. And those are each worth 2 beats. So 2 half notes make up a whole note. And then you can keep going down to quarter notes, where you would count each quarter note 1, 2, 3, 4, and each quarter note gets the beat there. The eighth notes, 2 eighth notes make up a quarter note, and as you can see, if we go all the way up to the top, 8 eighth notes make up a whole note. That's why it's called an eighth note, because there's 8 of them in a whole note. And then the 16th notes are at the very bottom. They have 2 flags, and there's 16 of those in a whole note. So for instance, if we were going to clap all of these, the whole note would be easy. We just clap once. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is if you're in 4/4 time or common time. And then the half notes, you go 1, 2, 3, 4. Quarter notes are on every beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Eighth notes you count a little differently. You have to add an and between each note. So you would say 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then 16ths are a tongue twister. You say 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and. And we'll get more into that later, but that's just the basic note rhythm values. Then the rest rhythm values are the same things. All a rest is the absence of sound. So a rest will be put into the music to show you that you don't want to make any noise at that point. The note values, like on the last slide, show you when to make noise. These show you when not to make noise, and they're broken up the same way: whole, half, quarter, eighth, 16th. So here's some rhythm examples, and I'll just go through these twice, and I'll do it the first time myself, and then you can do it the second time with me. So the first one's in 4/4 time, which means that top number is how many beats are in the measure, which each measure is that little square that has notes in it. And then the bottom number is what kind of note gets the beat. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's do it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and the bottom one is going to be in 3/4, so 3 beats per measure. Quarter note gets a beat. And let's do this one together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. And this is Rhythm for Three. This is basically just 3 different rhythms put together. So if you want to have some fun with 2 other people, you can do all these at the same time. And if you have any questions, you can email myself, Paul Pavlik, or Lucas Abernathy at music@summitviewcommunity.org. Thanks.